What's up everyone and welcome to the channel. I can't explain how hyped I am right now. After watching that episode, so many amazing things and we were able to learn so much. I can definitely see this being everyone's favorite episode. We still have one more episode left, but after this, it's done. Now before I get fully into the breakdown, I just want to warn you that there will be major spoilers in this video because we're going to be talking about everything. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, then go watch it right now because it's a roller coaster. Now everyone's still here, let's begin. This episode starts off incredibly strong. We open up to the Coruscant skyline, then the camera pans back revealing Anakin Skywalker with Hayden Christensen reprising his role. In this scene, Anakin is still a Padawan. We can tell by his shorter hairstyle and his Padawan braid. Then his master, Obi-Wan Kenobi, steps in sporting his mullet. We can assume this takes place a little before Attack of the Clones, as Anakin still has both hands and isn't currently a Jedi Knight. They have some friendly banter, which takes me back to the prequels and the Clone Wars series. This scene made me super nostalgic. But one thing I noticed was that Anakin's lightsaber is blue here. Now if you remember, Anakin didn't receive his blue lightsaber until after the first battle of Geonosis, so I'm not sure if it was just a continuity error due to the writers, or if they just could have been using some training lightsabers. Personally, I believe Anakin was given a training lightsaber as they were commonly used by grown Padawans. These lightsabers possessed a highly intensified electromagnetic containment field, which made it much more difficult to penetrate. These training lightsabers didn't do any real damage to whoever that was hit. They just left welts and bruises, but nothing serious. As Obi-Wan and Anakin began sparring, we see Kenobi's more serious tone and Anakin's excitement and impulsiveness. As they clash, we cut to Darth Vader aboard an Imperial Star Cruiser, thinking back to this time when he was a Jedi. An officer walks up and informs Vader that the third sister has arrived. She explains how the tracker worked and Obi-Wan is arriving on Jabim. Lord Vader congratulates her on her recent accomplishments and grants her the rank of Grand Inquisitor. Then he commands the captain to set a course for Jabim at once. We then cut to Obi-Wan, Leia, Roken, Tala, and Sully all returning to the planet after rescuing Leia from Fortress Inquisitorius. Back on Jabim, Obi-Wan reunites with Haja, so it was great seeing him return. I had a feeling we would. He explains how he's now wanted by the Empire, which is what brought him here. Then Obi-Wan discusses with Roken how he needs to get Leia back to Alderaan, but Roken explains how they need to get everyone out first, as they've been waiting for months. After taking a look around, Obi-Wan agrees to help and do whatever he can. We jump back to Darth Vader as they're approaching the planet. He commands the third sister to lock down the facility so that they can't escape, but more importantly, to try and break Obi-Wan. Back on Jabim, the droid Lola activates with glowing red eyes and then travels throughout the outpost until finding where the wires to the bay doors are. She tampers with them to keep everyone trapped inside until the Empire arrives. Obi-Wan looks to the wall with Arabish written on it. He sees the symbol of the Jedi Order, indicating that other Jedi have been here. We then see a pile of lightsabers and a crate full of robes that were left behind from previous Jedi who had come through to find themselves new identities. In this pile of lightsabers, we have many different styles that look very familiar, but I'm not able to make them out just yet. Hopefully once I do, I'll be able to explain them further. We jump back to the flashback where Obi-Wan lectures Anakin. He explains how he's being too aggressive and the way of the Jedi is to defend life, not take it. Anakin retaliates as usual, then we jump back to Darth Vader, whose Star Destroyer is now hovering over the planet. Here they begin the attack. Obi-Wan does his best to motivate everyone and comes up with a plan on how to stop the Empire long enough for them to escape. As the Empire makes their way onto the planet, we see nearly 100 stormtroopers position themselves in front of the doors to the base, along with a pair of purge troopers on the front. They do their best to break through the outside door by firing a heavy gun. While on the inside, Roken is having trouble getting the doors to open, so Leia decides to go into the vents and fix the problem. Obi-Wan receives a transmission from Bail Organa, who is wondering if both him and Leia are safe after not hearing from them for some time. We get a moment between Obi-Wan and Tala where she ends with, "Some things you can't forget, but you can fight to make them better." They're interrupted by the Empire still trying to blast their way inside. Obi-Wan decides his best option is to buy some time by talking with the third sister. Here we get an amazing moment. We learn what Reva's true objective is, which I'm sure a lot of us have already suspected for a while now, after getting more pieces put together back in episode 3. We learn that Reva knows Anakin because she was in fact one of the younglings in the temple during Order 66, and she witnessed all of her friends get slaughtered by the turned Jedi Knight. This is also why she holds some anger towards Kenobi, since he was Anakin's master, so she puts some of the blame on him. This also explains how Reva knew that Anakin was Darth Vader, as this was something very few knew about, and if anyone found out, they would be killed instantly. It's revealed that the third sister's plan was to get close to Vader and kill him herself. This was the reason she was so eager to become Grand Inquisitor. Obi-Wan offers to help Reva, but she declines and explains how she doesn't need any help. Then she cuts through the door and the battle breaks out. The army of stormtroopers pushes forward, Obi-Wan and the rest doing their best to keep them back until ultimately failing and retreating further into the base. While helping keep the troopers back, unfortunately, Ned B and Tala end up dying, defending everyone like the heroes they are. Obi-Wan decides that his best chance of saving everyone is surrendering himself, because he knows that Vader won't stop until he gets him. After he is captured, him and Reva talk some more. Obi-Wan explains how he's bringing Vader to her and not the other way around. She wants to kill him, so he does his best to convince her that she can end this. We come back to Obi-Wan and Anakin sparring in the Jedi Temple. After being disarmed by Anakin, Obi-Wan explains how his need for victory blinds him. Then we come right back to the present. Darth Vader finally steps foot on Jabim, moving swiftly towards the base. The rebels had nowhere left to go, until Leia was able to fix the controls and open the bay door. Obi-Wan makes it back after his capture and boards the ship with everyone else. Darth Vader marches through the tunnel trying to reach the insurgents as quickly as possible. He makes it just on time to see them leaving, but being the powerful Sith Lord he is, he easily uses the Force to bring the transport back to the ground before it can leave the planet. This display of power is incredible and just goes to show how strong Vader is with the Force, especially after ripping apart the walls of the ship. In this episode, he really felt like Vader from the comics. Unfortunately for him, Obi-Wan had planned to use an alternate ship, which led to their escape, leaving Vader with no choice but to watch. Going back yet again to Obi-Wan's lesson to Anakin, he explains how his skills are great, but his need to prove himself will be his undoing, which we eventually see in Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin tries to leap over Obi-Wan to display his power. While Vader watches the ship leave, the third sister sneaks up behind him and tries to kill him, but she fails miserably, as Vader easily avoids everything she can throw at him, using the Force to dodge her attacks. She does her best to land one shot on him, but is unsuccessful. He doesn't even pull out his own lightsaber, instead takes hers and ends with a dueling stance. At first I thought he was going to do to her what he did to Count Dooku, but instead mimics what he did to her in the Jedi Temple, where she was just a youngling. He reveals that he knew it was her from the beginning, and has been playing her, then stabs her once again. It is also revealed that the Grand Inquisitor survived, which I made a video about recently, and for anyone who's seen Star Wars Rebels, they already know about that. Now the episode ends with Reva surviving and learning about Luke on Tatooine. Obi-Wan senses the disturbance in the Force, and we cut to Luke sleeping. Now we have one episode left. Honestly, I thought this episode was amazing. I loved seeing all the flashbacks to Obi-Wan and Anakin. Then also Order 66, because seeing evil Anakin, and especially the 501st, was great. I felt like we learned a lot and everything has started to come together. There were a few things in this episode that kind of didn't add up, but they weren't too big and are definitely outweighed by all the incredible things we got. Vader displaying his power was so cool to see. I feel like not as many people realize just how powerful he actually is, so I'm glad they demonstrated that. Now I hope you guys all enjoyed this breakdown. It was definitely a long one. If you made it this far, make sure to leave a like or comment down below what you thought of this episode. If you're enjoying this type of content, then don't forget to subscribe and join the Empire today. Now as always, may the Force be with you.